So maybe you've been around the block. Maybe you've been in and out of therapy. You've been to lots of different groups, psychology or emotional release or different organizations. And you keep believing that one day you're going to arrive there, but maybe you're beginning to feel hopeless. Like, I've tried all these different things and none of it's going to work, and you feel a little hopeless. Like you can't get there, you can't arrive. And if you really learn about psychology, you feel like you've learned everything psychologically and you understand your personality type, but yet you can't seem to escape your personality type. And if you could escape your personality type, then you'd be there. And then you maybe begin to feel hopeless. And then maybe you begin to hear non-duality and you get into the hopelessness of message of non-duality. You begin to feel like there is no way out, you're never going to get there. There's nothing that can be done. And you know, nothing that you've ever learned about yourself, about psychology, the emotional release, the getting there or not getting there, the being this or that, this personality type or that personality type, being angry or not angry, having enlightened behavior, being peaceful, being not peaceful. And none of it is going to get you to non-duality. None of that is going to get you anywhere. Because you don't exist. The you that you take yourself to be doesn't exist. And there isn't freedom in that you. The freedom is this alive presence that's glowing. So, let me get some instruments to describe this. So today we take this balloon for example. You may ask, why do I have a balloon sitting next to me at the table? Because my friend that was here weeks ago left it. She had a baby here too. So it's amazing how long this balloon lasted, but it does make me think it might pop soon if I touch it. So anyway, we've got this balloon. I don't want to put it too near my eye. We have this balloon, and inside the balloon is air. And imagine if you replaced the air with a light, or you put inside of there a light. And that whole balloon would sort of go a lighter shade of red, it would maybe go orange. And then if you held it in a dark room, you'd see the effect of that. You'd see the orange light all over the walls. If you put inside there a white light, so I have a light here. So if we put, so that's without, with, it doesn't make that much difference, it's not that bright. Without, with. So if you put a white light in there, so this white light is always white, but it shines through a filter and makes it look like the light is orange. So we take it away and it's sort of darkish, reddish. Then we put it back in and it's like bright orange. So you can't really see the difference actually. So it makes it seem like it's orange. the light is orange, but the light is in fact white. Now, even if you had this balloon like painted in lots of different colours, if you painted it multicolour, still if you put the light to it, the light would remain white, but it would project, instead of just orange, multicolours. And this balloon is the human, is meant to be representing the human, and the light is representing the pure beingness. And when the light goes through that filter and looks through a body, it creates a certain colour. So it creates this orange on the wall, and the person believes that's who I am. I'm the light on the wall. I'm this personality. I'm this character. Really, that personality, that character that people see in the world. So whether you're a hyper person, a sensitive person, an empath, a narcissist, whatever character comes about, and that character is normally always changing, that character believes that that is who it is. It's the character. Whereas actually who it truly is the pure beingness that shines through and is experiencing the character. This present aliveness, this empty looking, the consciousness, the no thing, and the I am, which is love. And both of those go through the body-mind and look through the body-mind, and then the body-mind has a particular colour, and the body-mind kind of clamps them, or this ego clamps them together. So you've got the body and you've got the light of consciousness and the I am, and it clamps it together and says, I'm this whole bundle. And so you feel like you're the person, whereas actually who you are is that presence which has got nothing to do with the person. You're not your behaviours, you're not your habits, you're not your ideas, you're not your belief systems. All of that is appearing and disappearing in this. And those habits and those belief systems follow the pattern of time. So they're spontaneously happening now, but they're following a pattern that seems to go through time. Like your habits are dependent on everything that came before. But if you really examine time, you'll begin to realize that time goes back to the timeless, like it's infinite. So really enlightenment has nothing to do with the balloon. So you can do as much therapy, you can understand the personality as much as you like, and that personality is never going to get enlightened because it never existed. So in each moment you have thoughts appearing and you have ideas and you have feelings, and all of those are spontaneously appearing now. You also have a memory that can put them in a timeline, so it can put it all together. And you can remember your life, or what you've done, or what you've thought, or who you're seeing, or who you're going to see. You can remember all these things, and then that belief is that that's who you are. Whereas all of that is appearing in who you are. Who you are is actually that being presence that's behind it. Now often, in order to realize this, there needs to be a good amount of relaxing the body-mind mechanism, but you're never going to get rid of all your traits and your traumas and your good things and your bad things. If you've got a more dominant personality, you might always be a dominant personality. If you've got a more insecure personality, you might be the more insecure personality. If you've got a fiery personality, you might stay as that. That's not the problem as such, but when that personality is really suffering, then it's really seeking to be different from what it is. Your personality structure is completely impersonal. There's no personality there. Like, it's not yours. So what happens is your mind keeps spinning to try and find the solution. It keeps spinning in trying to find the right psychological reason that you're unhappy, or trying to find the right thing that you're unhappy, trying to do something. And there's lots of things that you can do to make your personality more balanced, like having a regular routine, doing exercise, psychologically working out your personality in relationship to others, understanding your trigger points, understanding your traumas, and all of this is going to make your personality more balanced. But there's always going to be a looking through of a certain personality structure. You're never going to become an enlightened personality structure. Like, there's always going to be that particular way of seeing things, whether it's a really happy, enthusiastic person or a less happy, enthusiastic person, or whatever personality it would be. But your freedom comes from the recognition of who you truly are, which has got nothing to do with being this or that. There is certainly more ways you can relax yourself. And if I think about my family members, like I certainly think I wouldn't be able to express non-duality to them at the moment. They'd have to understand a bit better the way they work, the way life works. They'd have to intellectually hear things and understand things and see things, and then there could be an expression of non-duality. When that's settled, when that desperate seeking energy settled, that's always future, 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 then there can be a presentation of who you truly are. And the freedom comes from a movement to that. It doesn't fix all your problems, it doesn't fix all your traumas on the human level, but there is a freedom in that, in seeing that who you are never is born, never dies, never suffers. There's never lost in anything. It's like a stillness looking out. And then the personality plays in that thinks this or likes this or gets triggered by that or doesn't get triggered by that. What I often see so often is that with spirituality or with this subject, people want to suddenly become a perfect person, because if they become a perfect person, then they're safe and they're lovable on the human level. So they look to a teacher that's perfect, and they look up at that teacher and they're constantly craving to be perfect like that person, and they're never going to get there. They're always going to stay a seeker, a follower, if they don't see that it's beyond that, that's a trauma that's most probably created from childhood, where you had a perfect parent or something and you felt insignificant to them, so you were always trying to present this perfect person and be this perfect person, and you're never going to arrive at that. So you create, but the seeker creates this world where it wants that so badly that it then finds a teacher that says, yes, I am perfect and I am at peace on the human level, and one day you can be perfect like me. And maybe they don't directly say that, but they're implying it. And maybe that's just their personality type. Maybe they're totally free and enlightened underneath that, but their personality type is more the boss personality type that always likes to project perfection. Perfection. Maybe they're more of a perfectionist. So that's what they like to project. And then the person gets that muddled with non-duality and uses it as another striving to become this perfect version of themselves, and then they can relax. But that's only in the human psychological world. That's what you've been doing your whole life, is trying to get others to love you, and it's never going to work. It's seeing that who you are is beyond that. But the mind gets tied in all these games unconsciously and just keeps trying. One day I'm going to be perfect like them. One day, this constant comparison. One day I will be empty and I will be enlightened and everyone will recognize it, or something in your imagination. And it's not like that. Your freedom is right now, and it's got nothing to do with your imaginings. Nothing. It's right now, right here. It's that alive presence that's looking out. And this isn't about trusting me. This isn't about trusting this external authority. That again is most probably a personality structure. Either you don't trust people or you do trust people, or you're in between. It's irrelevant. It's seeing something beyond that. What's always there when those thoughts come and go? What's always there when the feelings come and go? This alive presence, the empty looking and that sense of I am. And the I am is love, and the empty looking is empty. It's nothing. It's nobody's looking out. Nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's suffering. But the personality structure is always looking in the personality structure. So it's thinking, no, but I want to feel safe. I want to get this. I want to arrive. But that person doesn't arrive. I don't want to do it. It's too much work on the personality structure. Forget it. That's not it. That's a thought. It's gone. It doesn't mean anything. You could think this is too much effort, and then you go on a daydream about how much effort it is for the next 2 hours, and that you can't do it, or you reject what I say, and you fail to see that it's just thoughts and feelings coming up, and they're not true. They're traumas based on your past. And while they're really strong, you can investigate that trauma to understand it and release it to an extent, but there's just no truth in it. Suddenly you feel overwhelmed by the weight of this, of that you can't make it, or that you'll never get there. But that's not true. That's just feeling and ideas. They come and go. So you see that that's just a feeling. The thought is saying, I'm not going to get there. You feel it. Feel the vulnerability of it. And then what's it appearing in? And there's the freedom. The suffering is the attachment to that, and the constant attempt to find love in your conditioning on the human level, and find safety in the human level. You won't find it in the flow. Love is your nature. Safety is your nature. On the human level, you feel safe and unsafe. But when you move back to that safety, then there's a part of you that's always safe, no matter what. You have to look at things objectively. I know I most probably sound like I speak a lot of airy-fairy stuff. Like you look maybe and you might think, oh, this is just another one of those things that I'm never going to make it to, blah, 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 blah. But look at things objectively, okay? So firstly, there has always been consciousness. There has always been this awake presence in the experience. There's always been the I am. So those are the two constant. And the I am is love, and the empty looking is an emptiness that nobody's affected. In the personality level, in the thinking level, it's all about things, about you understanding something, about you seeing your past traumas, about you getting to a place without past traumas, about you getting more money, about you getting this or you getting that. So on the thoughts level, you're never going to be secure because there's always too many variables. There's always something that can or can't go. So you have to think, okay, so what is in the experience that's always here and always safe and never left? You have to find that. You can't look to a teacher for your safety because they're going to play their particular games with you. If you've got a more narcissistic, proud teacher, then they're always going to play as if they're better than you. If you've got an empathy teacher, they're always going to be wanting to most probably express every possible angle all these different teachers will have different roles that they'll play with you, and you could get lost with that, and you've got to forget about that. It doesn't mean don't listen to me or don't listen to those teachers, but you've got to see what the difference is between the pure being and the personality, and see that freedom isn't found in the personality. Be logical about it. See that you have a freedom that's always constant, and find that. And know that it's not you that finds it, but it can be found, but not by anyone. But it's your essence, so it's there, it's glowing, it's beaming. I don't have more of it than you. It's just this personality structure is no longer identified with it, or the beingness is no longer identified with the personality structure. But my personality structure isn't healed, and if you need to hear stories where I tell you how I'm not healed so you feel better about yourself to relax and not try to find it in the personality structure, then I'm happy to tell you that. Like, it's endless. You can endlessly work on the personality structure. So one thing that I find it hard in the personality structure is I struggle with boundaries, and especially as a speaker and a teacher, it's something I need to have very firmly, is boundaries. And it's something that I always have to work on, and I'm most probably going to have to work on the rest of my life, is inserting boundaries, and consciously recognizing when I'm not putting in my boundaries, because it's not a natural thing for me. I didn't grow up being taught boundaries, so it's something I have to learn. It's something that I might always have to intellectually understand when I'm not putting up a boundary correctly, or when I'm not saying no correctly, or when I'm not being firm enough in my no's. No, 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 no. I'm so much better than I used to be. Like, you most probably wouldn't even notice. But from the outside, maybe I look like I'm really compassionate, or really like giving, or really like open-hearted. And I am all those things. But I'm also rubbish at putting up boundaries. And I sometimes say yes too much. And I love people feeling good. I love seeing people happy, so I want to give. I'm an empathy character, so I want to do all those things. And I sacrifice my boundaries sometimes. And it's always a disaster when you don't put up your boundaries. Well, not always a disaster, but it's something that's super important, is to have good boundaries and to understand boundaries, especially when you're in the public eye. Like, if I maybe wasn't in the public eye, maybe I wouldn't reflect so much on how I'm not so good at putting up boundaries. But when you're in the public eye, even though I'm in a very small public eye, very small, you have people wanting things from you. They either perceive you as successful or having something they don't have, so they want it. So you have to really recognize when I want that and when I don't. And I'll give you another example of it. Someone wrote to me today from the town that I live in, and I also am a shy personality, and I don't like to be the center of attention. And it seems like a few people know me from YouTube that live in my town, and my first response was, "Oh no." Like I don't like the idea of being recognized, or people like that live in my environment knowing what I do, just because I just don't like being the center of attention. Even though I do this, if you follow me or know the way I do my talks, I do it very much so I don't get put into that center of attention. My personality just isn't into that. But you get another, it doesn't mean that other personalities are wrong. Like I told my friend that once. It was funny because there was like it was something like when I was going to India, there was like maybe 100 people coming or not. And when someone told me that and I realized, I was like, oh no. And then my friend was like, what's wrong with you? If I was sat there in front of 100 people, I'd be like, yeah, bring it on, here I am. And it's not that either of those personality structures are right or wrong. It's just that my personality structure is an introvert as opposed to a real big extrovert. And it's just the way it is. And so when I do public talks, I have to really be aware of my no's and when I'm okay to do something and when I'm not. When I like something and when I don't, and when it's pushing me too much. Whereas an extrovert would just be like, bring it on! So there is nothing wrong with having these personality dynamics. This is what makes us all unique. And this is what makes us beautiful. It's all having our particular ways. There's no freedom though in it. There is no freedom in being a particular way. Or not being a particular way. The freedom is a movement back to who you are, which is that alive presence. And I really believe that in order to recognize that alive presence and for that movement to happen, there has to be a certain settling down and understanding of the personality structure. So there's not this deep agony that's going on with being who you are. There's a relaxing of it. There's an understanding of it. But you're never going to get to freedom in the personality structure. So that, what I've said, for people that are more like me, that are more introvert, they will hear that and it's not all personality types, but personality types that are more shy, more introvert, more empathy characters, they're going to hear that and they'll most probably doubt it, because I used to believe that it was being perfect. But the more like higher esteemed people, the more narcissistic people, not that narcissism is bad, it's like a personality type, just like any other personality type, and it's got great qualities and it's got negative qualities. But those sorts of personalities would be like, I knew it. I knew I was already enlightened. I knew my personality was perfect. It just doesn't matter. It's got nothing to do with either of those stances. Neither are true. The empathy character that doesn't believe it, or the narcissist that's like, yes, I am enlightened. I knew it. She knows nothing more than me. I'm already enlightened. Neither of those positions are right, because they're thoughts coming and going. There is no freedom in thoughts. There's no freedom in feelings. They are not true. They are simply colors that are rising, that have evolved from thousands and thousands of years of humanity, and before that, all the other animals that led to the evolution of humans. In fact, you can trace back every action you do now right to the beginning of time. Which is beautiful. It's timeless in every direction. And so a more high esteem, like a more high esteem, like more narcissistic, like I am boss character, they wouldn't, if they were the speaker, and they could be totally free and totally knowing who they truly are and acting as they truly are, but their personality structure has this more boss type character, this more, yes, I am right character, I am the leader, I am the boss. And they might never say what I say, because it wouldn't be in their personality structure to admit where they're not perfect. Their personality structure likes to project perfection, whereas my personality structure is totally into honesty and saying everything as it is, as true as it can be to what's happening. And neither is right or wrong. I am not better than the other and they are not better than me. It's just difference. And seeing through all that bullshit, seeing through the Lisa personality, seeing through the other teacher's personality. Whoever you resonate is beautiful, but seeing that what they're pointing to is your pure being, is your alive presence that's right here. Your thoughts aren't true. No one can give you this. It's there. I can give you wisdom on the human level, which is beautiful. I can help you understand about the psychology of being human, although maybe I'm not the best at doing that. There's loads of stuff on the internet, but I'm quite good, maybe better than you. But it doesn't matter. Maybe the stuff you could teach me as well about that. But that's not non-duality. Here it is. That which looks at your eyes, that which hears this, that which feels. This alive presence, this empty looking and the I am. And this empty looking and the I am lead you right back to who you are, which is emptiness and fullness. This no thing and this everything's. So I just saw someone comment, thoughts are true if they resonate. You cannot have a word that's true, but you can have things that are more true. So to me, I would say this life is made up of love. But love is a word that we made up. It's a sound. It doesn't actually describe reality. But to me, that's the most true way I can present it. To me, Khaleesi is beautiful. And some people might not describe her as that and see her as something different. But to me, that's what my heart says about her. But no word is true, but for sure, there is words that line up more. And I always want to line everything up as truly as possible here. That's what feels good here. Is it all coming straight out, there being no internal and external world. But I can't always get it right, and sometimes I lie, like humans all lie. Even the fact that I admit that I lie is incredibly sweet. But all humans do. Yeah, sometimes it's so quick, you know, you say something, you're like, oh, that wasn't quite true. But not so often. The body wants to try and get it as accurate as possible. And over the years that I've been speaking about this subject, I feel I've got better and better and better expressing this. And it's like the speaking lines up more and more with the way that I feel it is. It's so hard putting it into words, you know, and in the beginning when I first started speaking, I didn't have the words for it. And it's getting better and better. Okay, so let's take some questions.